Founded in 1718 as San Antonio de Bel Presidio by Spanish missionaries, the area we now know as San Antonio, Texas, was first explored and documented in Spanish expeditions from 1691 to 1709. The area had a small population of Yanaguana natives who lived around the San Pedro Springs. In 1773, San Antonio de Béjar became the capital of Spanish Texas. 5 years later, the population was a little over 2,000 and included Europeans, Native Americans, mestizos or mixed heritage peoples, and a few black slaves, according to the Texas State Historical Association. Texas declared independence from Mexico in 1813, and so began the Texas Revolution, which resulted in numerous battles, including the famous Battle of the Alamo in 1836. After the Mexican soldiers left, Bexar County was officially organized by the Republic of Texas, and San Antonio was chartered as the capital city in January 1837. That was 180 years ago this month. The new republic was besieged by attempts from Mexico to retake the new republic, and after San Antonio became the site of battles with Comanche Indians in 1840 and 2 Mexican invasions in 1842, Texas was annexed by the United States, becoming the 28th state in December 1845. In 1846, the population of San Antonio was down to 800, but it rapidly began to grow as migrants poured in throughout the decades that followed. In 1850, the population was 3,500. By 1860, it was 8,000, and by 1880, it was over 20,000. The majority of these immigrants were native-born Anglos, mostly from southern states. Many of these immigrants were of English, Irish, and German descent. By the time of the Mexican Revolution in 1910, the population had reached over 96,000, and a wave of new immigration from Mexico began. According to the Texas Historical Society, this unique mix of German, Hispanic, and Southern Anglo-American cultures made San Antonio one of only 4 truly multicultural cities in America at that time, along with Boston, New Orleans, and San Francisco. Each successive wave of immigrants to San Antonio have brought a little taste of their architecture, culture, food, and style to the city, now increasingly recognized for its unique style among major Texas cities. According to the Texas Demographic Center, as of the 2010 U.S. Census, San Antonio had a fully English-Spanish bilingual population that was double the average in Texas at 30%, and more than 4 times the average in the United States, which stood at 7%. According to the most recent San Antonio language profile, around 60% of the population in San Antonio speaks English only, around 35% speaks some Spanish, and the other 5% speak other languages. The majority of non-English speaking immigrants to Texas are from China, India, the Philippines, and Mexico, El Salvador, and Honduras. Most of these new waves of Asian immigrants have been in the last 30 or 40 years, with a large jump in Asian immigrants from places such as Korea and Vietnam from the 1960s to the 1980s after the end of the conflicts there. San Antonio also has a large population of military retirees due to the numerous military bases. Near the bases where soldiers returned with their Asian brides, Korean and Vietnamese businesses sprang up. On the northeast side of San Antonio, near Fort Sam Houston, for example, you can find some of the city's oldest Asian-owned dry cleaners, nail salons, and restaurants. On the west and south sides of San Antonio, many Latin or Spanish-speaking owned businesses dominate. Spanish-English bilingual signs can be found in many areas of town, but especially in auto shops and restaurants where the customers are frequently Spanish-English bilinguals. In fact, evidence of the multicultural nature of San Antonio is found by the number and variety of restaurants and foods, especially with the new fusion food truck craze. Since the 1990s, with the growth of large multinational companies who hire professionals from countries like India to fill the gap in the technology workforce, San Antonio has seen a large influx of immigrants from India. San Antonio's Asian Indian population, though still small at 6,000, has grown almost 79% since 2000. In Texas, it has grown 96%, and nationally 73% since 2000. So whether we are celebrating German folk traditions like Wurstfest, El Dia de los Muertos, the Latin Day of the Dead, or the Indian Festival of Lights known as Diwali, it's clear that San Antonio has embraced and welcomes its cultural growth in linguistic and social diversity.